And away we go. Derek Jeter is here. David Ortiz, Alex Rodriguez, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt taking you up to this game number 5. So important here tonight. And if you missed it, why don't we show you how the World Series has played out so far. Game 1, it was the Jays exploding for 9 runs in the 6th, including Addison Barger hitting the first pinch hit grand slam in series history, an 11-4 Toronto romp. Then Yoshinobu Yamamoto made history in Game 2. He tossed his second straight complete game, first to do so in the playoffs in 24 years. He held the Jays offense to 1 run. Game 3, an instant classic. Shohei Ohtani had 2 home runs. He drove in 3, and he tied a major league record. He reached base 9 times, but the game went to the 18th. Freddie Freeman did that. His second career World Series walk-off homer gave the Dodgers a 2-1 win. And then Ohtani was back on the mound in Game 4. He made his World Series debut as a pitcher, but Vlad Guerrero Jr., big 2-run home run. Jays went on to knock the series at 2 games apiece, and that's where we stand right now. Through the first 4 games, Jays have a little edge in the offensive department thanks to a balanced attack with 9 different players driving in a run. Shohei Ohtani, 3 home runs. Rest of the Dodgers have hit 4 of those combined. And so there you go. You make an argument for either side. We're all tied at 2. Which team in your eyes has the advantage, Al?
KB, it has been such an awesome series. One of the best series we've seen in quite a long time. You can actually make an argument that the favorite Dodgers should feel fortunate to be 2-2, you know, but if you have to give a slight advantage, I would just go with the LA Dodgers simply because they have a ham and cheese sandwich that's pretty hard to eat between Snell tonight and the modern day Oral Hershiser and Yamamoto in Game 6. But the Jays are coming off one of the best comeback victories after being knocked in the jaw in Game 3. That was an awesome performance last night.
Did you just compare Snell and Yamamoto to a
I'm just a little hungry.
You're just making me hungry.
Wait, what was the question? Who has the advantage?
Good luck following that.
I tell you, I honestly believe neither team has the advantage. Both teams have showed just how resilient they are, right? The Dodgers lost Game 1 with their ace on the mound, bounced back won Game 2. Toronto Blue Jays lost a heartbreaker, an 18-inning game, and then bounced back and beat Ohtani on the mound. So I don't think either team has an advantage. These are 2 best teams in baseball. I think we expected it to go back and forth, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Well, with a cheese sandwich and as much as I eat, you just got me all confused, just like this series right here. I don't know what the money is at right now. You would think that the Dodgers will overdo this Blue Jay thing because the Blue Jay came in as the underdog, but the series is tight right now. And yesterday, watching the Dodgers hit, it seems like the 18th inning that they played the day before catch up with them because those bats, they were asleep. Now, they have a Snell on the mound tonight. Someone that the Blue Jays faced before. They have a history from the game before, but I know that he wasn't on his regular day to rest. This time he is. He had no feeling for his fastball before. This time I expect him to do. And I think that the Dodgers gonna take over the series, even having hit the way they normally do. But I think they will wake up tonight.
Papa, you asked where the money is. I think Magic took it with him yesterday. He was sitting right here. No, but KB, I hate to oversimplify this, but look, and we're going to talk about this later about the Dodgers offense. It's very simple. The Dodgers have not hit all month to their ability. If they hit, they'll be world champions. If they don't hit, like they haven't hit all month, they're going to go home.
And I'll just add that whoever wins this game, I think, has the advantage, right? Because then you're 1 win away from a world championship.
Yeah, bottom line is we're all tied. We're going back to Toronto now. Who's going to go back there 1 win away from a World Series championship? Meanwhile, some news. We welcome in our buddy Ken Rosenthal, of course, part of tonight's broadcast. Ken, Dodgers, we've talked about it. Their offense really hasn't been up to par as a whole, and they made some changes tonight, didn't they?
They did, but let's start with the Blue Jays, Kevin. It is not out of the question we will see George Springer tonight. He ran today and hit off a velocity machine. John Schneider says he will be in the dugout, not as a decoy, but as an actual possibility to pinch hit. The safer move for the Jays might be to rest Springer 1 more day, then use the off day tomorrow to get him ready for Game 6. But the Blue Jays aren't sure he's going to get better, and they aren't sure he's going to get worse. Now, for the Dodgers, Dave Roberts has shaken it up, benching Andy Pages for Alex Paul, and more significantly, moving Will Smith up to the number 2 spot and dropping the slumping Mookie Betts to 3rd. It is the first time since September 2021 2021 that Betts will hit lower than second. But with Smith in that spot, perhaps the Jays will be less inclined to walk Shohei Ohtani.
Makes a lot of sense, Ken. We'll see. And that's wild about Springer. Good for the Jays that maybe he has a shot to at least impact this series. Great stuff from Joe. Cool to have him in the pregame. Give us a little insight from his perspective. How about from the player's perspective? What's it like in that moment for you, who's been there?
Oh, man, I tell you what, Joe said it, you dream about it, right? Ever since you're a child, you never know if you're going to be in that situation, but you actually feel like you're floating around the bases, and I can't articulate the feeling, man. It was one of the most memorable hits that I've had in my career. People still talk about it today.
And you know what's funny, Kevin, that when you get it done, like Captain did on that video, and you are running the bases, your mind is in a different atmosphere, you know, like you're not thinking about the moment at the moment. You're just going through the flow, leaving the emotion but quietly. And then after you go home and then you sit down and watch the video, that's when you really enjoy it.
You know, that's beautiful, fellas. I'm going to talk about it from a fan perspective. You know, baseball, what makes it the greatest sport in the world and makes it so romantic and historic and nostalgia is that in basketball, you usually don't walk away with a three unless you're Michael Jordan or Tom Brady, you know, walk-off touchdown pass. But in baseball, it provides these moments, this drama. And I remember as a little kid listening to Jack Buck when Kirby Puckett was up in Minnesota, and he hits that ball over the left center. I'll never forget it called. You know, we'll see you tomorrow night. And 25 years later, the great Joe Buck's son calls freeze is like frozen in my baseball memory. Beautiful.
Yeah, there's so many great memories from your side, and obviously from Joe and everyone who's been able to announce these moments side, which is really, really cool. Now the Dodgers and getting their offense going, and they'd like to have another Freddie Freeman moment tonight if they could. Tonight, it's actually Kike Hernandez's franchise record 90th postseason game for LA, which is hard to believe. He took time a little while ago to speak with our Tom Verducci.
Thanks, KB. Kike, a little bit different look in the lineup today. You are in center field. When you saw the lineup, what'd you think?
I already knew. Doc told me last night that I was playing center field. I took some balls in center during the workout 2 nights ago. We weren't sure if I was going to be there last night or not, but I didn't get any action last night, but at least I got 2 innings in. It's been a while since I played there, but hopefully it's just like riding a bike, you know?
You're seeing Trey Savage for the second time in 5 days. What can you take away from the first experience to help you tonight?
We have a better idea of what his pitches look like. I think we did a pretty good job running his pitch count up, you know. We didn't necessarily score that many runs, but we had a lot of opportunities. We had our chances. We ran his pitch count up, and at the end of the day, you know, whatever happened in that game. But just having a better idea of what his stuff looks like, because it's a very different throw that he has, and of course, when you haven't faced a guy before, I always think that it's advantage pitcher the first couple times, but having seen him once already I think it's going to be helpful for us.
Thanks and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, KB.
All right, Tom, Kike, appreciate that as always. Dodgers offensive series, it's mostly been Shohei and then Freddie Freeman, obviously, with the dramatic home run. They've accounted for over half their homers and extra base hits, 344 as a duo, just 181 for the rest of the team combined. Will Smith has obviously had some big hits in this series too, but the bottom line is they are not clicking on all cylinders. In your eyes, what's wrong with the Dodgers offense and how do they change it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot wrong with the offense right now, but there's a very capable and experienced group. But if you go back and summarize October, how they've gotten here, fellas, is they beat 3 teams with their starting pitching. It's going to be scary if they can ever get it going, but look, the time is now. What I will say is, when you looked at the last 9 innings of that extra inning game, it felt like, yes, they hit a home run by Freeman to walk off, but it felt they tried to do that for 9 innings. And I think George Springer said it best when we had our interview with him, where he said, Game 7 of the ALCS, I had first and third, biggest at bat of my career, and I try to do one thing, is get the run in. That singular thought. Like Joe Torre always says, think small and big things will happen. That's exactly what the Dodgers need to do.
Look, the Dodgers are so deep into the lineup that they might get away with this move or not having Baez in center field tonight. But guys, when you get to this point in the season, it's a ride or die situation. You gotta die with your soldier because they are the one who take you there. But let me ask the two of you a question. Let's say they don't hit like last night tonight, and they had to go to Toronto to play on Friday. What, you gonna bench Baez again?
That's a good question.
So when it comes down to this point, you just have to ride and let things happen. You can just, you everyday player, just because you're struggling a few games, just go to the bench. You're not going to figure anything out on the bench.
So let's explain this for Derek Jones. So what David's saying here, basically the move is they take Pages out. He's been ice cold to play, but he's their best defender. So they lose something in center field. They bring in Alex Cole. They get speed there. You don't like the move because they're changing what they normally do. What do you think?
Well, I mean, look, no one knows their team better than Doc, right? He knows his team. He knows what buttons to push in order for it to work. But the thing is the Dodgers just can't seem to string anything together, right? They sprinkle hits here and there, but they're not having quality at bats, 3, 4, 5 in a row, which we're seeing the Blue Jays have. It's a veteran team, an experienced team. We all expect them to break out at some point. The issue is they're running out of time, so they need to, baseball's a funny sport, and, sometimes it's one inning, and then you all get rolling, right? But they need that moment to happen quickly, because if they're going to beat this team over there in Toronto, they're going to have to score some runs.
Ohtani's been great. He's the king of your chessboard. The 3 most important spots is who hits in front of him, 8th and 9th hitter, and who hits behind him, and Mookie Betts has struggled. Poppy, you know Mookie Betts better than anybody in this building, and there's over 50,000. What advice would you give Mookie right now?
Camera, what am I, right here? Bogdo, look at your boy right here. Your level of confidence need to go back to what they normally used to be. You're one of the greatest players that have ever played this game. You are healthy, you are very talented, you're playing hell of a defense, but you gotta go back in that home plate with that beast mode that you always have in you, kid. Let's go, man. Tonight, we ride. I love you, man. I got you, baby.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium and welcome to the 2025 World Series on Fox, presented by Capital One. This best of 7 has become a best of 3. The Dodgers and the Blue Jays, Game 5 from LA. We welcome you inside. That's the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. I'm Joe Davis. These Blue Jays, I tell you what, they lose that 18-inning heartbreaker. They lose their leadoff guy, George Springer, and they come back and still tie this series up.
Well, everybody in Canada knew what this team was all about. The world's getting to see it on the greatest stage. They are tough. They are an offense that is relentless, and when they're good in big innings. And the big innings is how they're tied this thing up. Multiple runs in an inning. They did it 5 times. And they've got 5 home runs with no solo home runs. And guess what? The one thing they were worried about has been on fire lately, and that's the bullpen. So the Blue Jays, if they're going to win this series, it's always been about making more contact and creating havoc on the bases.
So if the offense is their path forward to winning this whole thing, for the Dodgers, it's been the starting pitching. Somebody asked me today, you think they can get 6 or 7 innings out of Blake Snell? I said they try to get 8, 9 innings out of Blake Snell the way it's going for the bullpen. Same thing for the Dodgers. It's the Jays offense. It's the Dodgers starting pitching.
It really is. And you look at this whole postseason, they have dominated by the starting pitching. It's kind of overlooked the lack of offense that they've got consistently. And that starting pitching starts with Blake Snell. He's been as good as advertised, with one tiny exception. There's his record in the first 3 starts, and he didn't have his best stuff against the Blue Jays. Look for him to rebound and really pick it up from the changeup to the fastball. That's not normal for Blake Snell. And if the Dodgers are going to win this series, it's going to be on the arms of their starting pitching, despite what the offense has not done thus far.
Yeah, and you mentioned it with the offense. This star-studded lineup, they scored 9 runs a game against the Reds in the wild card round, quiet since. And so changes are coming. And for the details, down to Tom Verducci.
Well, thanks, Joe. For 623 straight starts, Mookie Betts has hit first or second. Not tonight. Will Smith hits second. Mookie hits third. Mookie has only 5 hits in his last 34 at-bats, including 1 for 7 with runners on base in the World Series. Now, with the way the Blue Jays have been walking Shohei Ohtani, manager Dave Roberts believes this can ease the burden on Betts to make them pay. Now here is Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Tom. George Springer is getting closer. He is out of the lineup again tonight with right side discomfort, but he ran today, hit off a velocity machine, and is available to pinch hit. If the Jays stay away from him, he'll have another day to recover for Game 6. But John Schneider says that if an opportunity arises, you will not hesitate to take a shot with one of the great postseason players of recent times. Joe?
All right, boys, so all the pieces set in this 162-game marathon into the longest postseason that you've ever seen in this era of baseball, but it all comes down to 3.
考える。スネルはその後、必死に粘った。6回と3分の2を投げて116球。だが、試合はあの最初の3球で、実質終わってたんだ。この大一番で、いきなり2点のビハインド。これがどれだけ重いか。特に今のドジャース打線には、この2点はとにかく重いんだ。ドジャース打線の話だ。2点を追いかける展開。だが、相手はブルージェイズが誇るエースじゃない。イエサベージ、22歳のルーキーだ。9月にメジャーデビューしたばかりの若手投手だ。だが、こいつがドジャースの歴代最強打線を、まるで子供扱いしやがった。特にひどかったのが2回だ。フリーマン、テオスカ、エドマン、まるで赤子の手をひねるように、3者連続三振だ。あのスプリットとスライダーに見事に遊ばれた。いいか、あいつは確かに良かった。それは認める。だが、お前ら3人で一体いくらの契約金、年俸をもらってるんだ。1億ドルの男たちが、なんでメジャーデビュー2ヶ月の小僧のボールに、くるくるバットを回してんだ。1巡目で見極めて、2巡目で仕留める。それがプロの仕事だ。だが、7回まで投げさせて、スタメン全員三振だと、お前らがあの小僧を、ワールドシリーズの歴史に残るヒーローにしちまったんだ。この屈辱がわかるか。力なく3球三振していくような、こんな無気力な攻撃を、今年最後の本拠地の試合でファンに見せるな。あいつのスプリットやスライダーが厄介なのはわかる。だが、それにしても対応がなさすぎる。狙い球を絞るのか、ファウルで粘るのか、そもそも思い切って捨てて、一切手を出さないのか。チームとしての戦略が何も見えなかった。ただ、来た球を漫然と振ってるだけだ。これじゃ勝てるわけがない。あいつは7回を投げて、たったの3安打、1失点。そして、奪った三振は、なんと12個だ。ワールドシリーズでの新人投手の最多奪三振記録を更新しやがった。それだけじゃない。ドジャースのスタメン全員から三振を奪うおまけ付きだ。頼みの綱の翔平は、第3戦で9打席連続出塁なんていう歴史的な活躍を見せたが、今日は4打数ノーヒット。完全に抑え込まれた。打線が奪った得点は、3回の危機の一発だけ。ポストシーズンに強いお祭り男は根性を見せたが、あまりにもつながりを欠いてしまった。イエサベージのピッチングは確かに素晴らしかった。あのスプリットとスライダーは本物だ。だが、それにしてもやられすぎだろ。俺がもう一つ怒っているのは、ロバーツの決断の遅さだ。打線がこれだけ冷え切ってる。特に主軸がだ。第5戦が始まる前までベッツは打率1割5分8厘。マンシーは1割7分6厘。エドマンは1割6分7厘。キケだって1割8分8厘だ。翔平以外の他の連中も例外じゃない。直近の5試合で翔平は打率5割、6本塁打、8打点、OPS2.265 と化け物級の成績を残してる。だが、翔平以外の全員の成績をまとめた結果を知って俺は愕然としたぞ。打率、1割9分5厘、4本塁打、13打点、OPS、5割5分1厘だ。むしろこんな状態で、よくに消耗できたもんだ。ロバーツは、第5戦になって、ようやく打線に手こ入れをし、打順を入れ替えた。スミスを2番にして、ベッツを3番に下げた。不振のパフェスもようやくスタメンから外した。はっきり言ってもう遅いんだ。しかも、第5戦でそれが機能したかといえば、微妙だ。翔平の前にランナーを作れたのは1回だけ。しかも2アウトランナー1塁の状況だ。さすがの翔平も毎打席でホームランを打てるわけじゃない。翔平の前にランナーを置き、翔平の後ろもプレッシャーをかけることで翔平と勝負させる作戦なんだろうが、今日はイエサベージの前に空振りに終わった。しかし、なんで第4戦までにもっと大胆な手を打たなかったんだ。なぜ、機能不全に陥っている打線をただ眺めていただけなんだ。ポストシーズンは待ってくれないんだ。一つの決断の遅れがシリーズの流れを相手に渡しちまう。そして、俺は試合が終わった後、スタジアムで一人のレジェンドとすれ違いざまにハグをした。カーショーだ。あいつの顔を見たら、涙が出そうになっちまった。今日が、ドジャースタジアムでの現役最後の試合だったんだ。あいつがドジャースのユニフォームを着て、あのマウンドに立つ姿はもう見ることができないんだ。それなのに、なんだ今日の試合は、ルーキーにひねり潰され、ブルペンは放火を繰り返し、 ファンにため息をつかせ、王手をかけられる。こんな惨めな試合を、あいつの、ドジャースのレジェンドであるカーショーの本拠地での最後の思い出にしていいのか。あいつは、こんなチームの姿を見るために、ずっとドジャースを支えてきたんじゃないはずだ。そして、試合を決定的にぶっ壊したのが、またしてもあのブルペン。あのガスカンクルー軍